Today's video will discuss dilating lines. For example 1, we are given the pre-image line equation, y equals 4x minus 6, and we're asked to find the image equation. So after dilation with a scale factor of 2/3 and is centered at the origin, the best way to just do this is recognize that we're going to end up with parallel lines. And if you recall from an earlier lesson, if you have the slope shown or given to you, and we're talking about parallel lines, it's going to be the same slope. So we already know that we're going to have y equals 4x. Now we just have to use the scale factor information to figure out what our y-intercept will be. So our pre-image y-intercept is -6. Don't forget the sign in front. And what we're going to do is we're going to take 2/3 of that, because again, we're using the scale factor that was given and it's centered at the origin. So we can just go ahead and do 2/3. We don't have to do anything special. So 2/3 times -6. And you can either multiply across 2 times -6 equals -12 and then divide by 3, or you can do cross simplification. And just know that this is really like over 1 if you're multiplying, and you will end up with -4. So this is my new y-intercept. So I would just go ahead and put that here, because in slope-intercept form, this is y equals mx plus b. And so we just substituted in the information based off of what was given. So this is my equation. For example 2, you're asked to find the scale factor after dilating a line with the center at the origin, and then you're given information. You have to remember, in order to use the formula, which is shown here, which gives you the scale factor, because scale factor is represented by K, you will need to know which one is the image and which one is the pre-image. Pre-image is what you started with. Image is what the finished product looked like. So the image is recognized by the prime symbols. So I know that's going to go on top. So 6.2 divided by my pre-image, which is 3.1, will give me my scale factor. If you put that in a calculator, it tells you that your scale factor is 2. And now the question is asking after that, is this an enlargement or a reduction, and why? Well, since the number, your scale factor, is greater than 1, we know that it is going to be an enlargement. If it was between 0 and 1, it will be a reduction. So make sure when you're looking at word problems that you're reading and answering everything that it's asking. So it asks for 2 things. Now, example 3, you're asked to find the dilated coordinates with the center 0, 0, which is the origin, when your scale factor, which is represented by K, is 1/2. So all you're doing is you're taking your pre-image, which does not have prime symbols, and you're going to take that and you're going to multiply each one of those coordinates by the scale factor of 1/2. So for B prime, I'm going to take 1/2 of both of these, X and Y. So 1/2, I'm multiplying. That's what that's supposed to represent there. So if I take 1/2 of -2, that's going to leave me with -1. And if I take 1/2 of 1, that's 1/2, or as a decimal, 0.5. Done. Now I go over to coordinates for W, and I do the same thing. I'm multiplying times 1/2 because that's the scale factor that's given. And I'm going to take 1/2 of 4, which is 2, and 1/2 of 6, which is 3. And now the last example is asking us to graph an image of the dilated line when the scale factor is 3 and is centered at the origin. So I'm going to show you 2 ways. The first way is if I go to my center, which is the origin, and then I just count to the points that are given. If the points aren't given, you just find whatever points you want. So I know that on this one, I had to go over 1 and down 2. So that's 1 scale factor. I need to go 3 scale factors. So I'm going to repeat myself. I'm going to go over to the right 1 and down 2. That's 2 scale factors. Over to the right 1 and down 2. That's 3 scale factors. So that is where my point will be. And that point is going to be 3. Just reading this, 1, 2, 3. So that's 3, and then I go down to -6 here. So that's what my new coordinates are for this image portion, 3, -6. And now I'm going to do the same for coordinate C, or point C, sorry. It tells me to go over 1, 2, -2, and then down 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to repeat that 3 times because that's my scale factor. So that's 1 scale factor. Go over to the left 2, down 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. To the left 2, 1, 2, down 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. When I go down there, that point is right there. So there's my new point for that image. And that is going to be at -6 right here. You see that? And then I'm going to go down to -12. Now what I want to do is I want to go ahead and create my line. And like I said earlier, they're going to be parallel lines. And they're going to have the same slope and all of that. Okay, so if I can get the ruler to cooperate. All right, so then it's a line. So go ahead and make sure you put your arrows on it. That was one way. The other way is to simply just take your coordinates and just multiply each one by 3, like we did in the earlier example. So -2 times 3 is -6, and 3 times -4 is 12. So those are my new coordinates. And then I would do the same here. I'm multiplying both coordinates by 3. 1 times 3 is 3, and 3 times -2 will give me those new coordinates. And so if I labeled those, this would be C prime, and this would be D prime. All right, that's it for today's video. Hope you enjoyed it. Like and subscribe. Have an awesome day.